Welcome to All Things Retreat podcast. I'm Holly Porter, your host and CEO of Retreat R&R. With over 25 years of experience in designing transformative retreats, I'm here to share insights and inspiration to help you create extraordinary experiences. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, you'll find valuable ideas here. Enjoy the ride. Let's dive in. Defining what it means to be wealthy. As a business and wealth strategist, speaker, author, and host of Expand Your Empire podcast, she empowers women who own their own wealth and their worth. Through her company, Expand Your Empire, Amanda helps women turn income into influence and profits into power, building scalable businesses, generational wealth, and lasting confidence. Her work blends strategy and soul, merging financial education with mindset mastery to create true freedom and legacy. Amanda is a leading movement of women who are ready to change the world in their wealth, one business, one investment, one bold decision at a time. Welcome to the show, Amanda.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here with you.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to come and share with all of our aspiring and well-seasoned retreat leaders here. Either way, we talk about all things retreat, and you have a different flair than the norm. And I like thinking outside the box always and bringing good guests that can get us thinking a little bit deeper, maybe. So you are redefining what it means to be wealthy. What inspired you to start this movement around women owning both their wealth and their worth?
You know, I accidentally fell into real estate investing about 8 years ago. That's a whole other story for another podcast, but I was in this realm and I just got used to being the only woman in the room and I never thought about it. And then I built another company and I just kept going. And then I saw this documentary about a year and a half ago called Show Her the Money. And it was about how less than 3% of global venture capital goes to female-owned businesses. It was like the angels sang, the lightning struck, all the pieces came together. And I said, women have taken a backseat for way too long, not on purpose. That's just the spot we were told we needed to be in when it came to growing wealth and investing. And I had taught myself these skills because nobody was teaching this stuff. And now I said, okay, it's not for me, it's for everyone. Let's go build this army of women and let's change the world with our wealth. So here we are.
I love it. Well, retreat leaders have big ideas, and sometimes there's a struggle I hear with just implementing things and looking at opportunities. And then it really is about the relationships that you have. Who do you know that knows who, and bringing them into your fold and making things happen. I mean, women definitely, I noticed that when I got in the tech space with Retreat R&R, it was so masculine. No offense to any men. I have a husband and he's awesome. But, we were kind of joking last night even about that. I just said, gosh, this group I was working with, the partnership split up, and I don't know the whole story and I don't need to. But the point was that, I'd been working with them and it just felt so heavy. So I went and started my own tech women's mastermind with, 3 other women, and just to kind of be able to powwow and feel that feminine side of things, because it is heavy. It really, really heavy. So anyway, that was my tangent for the day. So you talk about merging strategy and soul. How do you personally define soulful wealth in today's business landscape?
I think it's all about alignment. And if you had asked me 6 or 7 months ago, I would have been like, I don't even know what that means. But I've had my own kind of transition. You talk about masculine, feminine, it has nothing to do with gender. But the energy and the way we operate in things, and I had been raised in, I had operated in, and I had been a very driven, hustle, grit, grind person operating in this very masculine energy. And when I discovered the difference and I saw all the ways that I wasn't implementing any feminine energy and how that was blocking me from a lot of things, I started to reevaluate. And in terms of wealth building, I have, done a lot of research and I've done a lot of speaking engagements. and about the feminization of wealth and how different that looks with the feminine energy
Yeah.
coming into the wealth space, and how we invest differently, how we grow things differently, how we have a completely different outlook. And again, nothing against men, it's just different.
Yeah.
And so it's a completely different way of looking at things. And that is what I mean with soul is we invest with our
Mhm.
values. We invest in community. We do
Yeah.
things collaboratively, and it's a completely different way of operating than men. And statistically, you want to bring science into it instead of, woo woo and alignment,
Sure.
it works better. It works better. They're
Yeah.
proven that women's portfolios
Yeah.
outperform men. Female funded VCs, outperform males. I don't know what to say. That's just data. So there it
Yeah,
is.
it's there too. It's almost
Mhm.
like comparing an entrepreneur to someone who works in corporate.
Yeah,
There's no comparison really. It's just different
it's just different.
lives, just different everything, different thinking. You just approach things differently,
Yeah.
and it's just all around different. So
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so many retreat leaders seek their work as purpose driven. I know that is a big deal in the retreat industry, but they're not always profit driven. So let's speak to those retreat leaders that maybe have some pricing issues. Maybe they're just, I mean, it's different if you're doing it for fun and it's just a hobby, then it's just a girl's trip as far as I'm concerned. But what would you say to that?
Oh man, I coach a lot of coaches and a lot of spiritual coaches. I
Yeah,
actually, so this is a great question
yeah,
because, you know, did you get into this for, like you said, like a hobby? This is freedom, or did you just buy yourself this grind of a job with a flexible dress code? What are you here for? And a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs have such a stigma around making money, around
hmm,
charging what they're worth, around wanting to be wealthy even.
yeah.
So that's the number one thing we have to get over. Forget the money, forget the
Really?
tactics, forget the strategies. Who am I, and what do I believe about money? What do I believe about being wealthy? Does that make me a bad person? Is there shame around this? That's a whole thing we got to start.
Yeah.
And I see it more in spiritual entrepreneurs than I do sometimes in other people. So the question I have is, like, we should all be making as much money as possible. And when we do, we are affecting the lives of those around us. We can serve other people. We can build bigger experiences and better experiences for our clients. We can
Yeah.
serve them better. It is a tool. It is not something for us to hoard.
Wow.
It is something for us to use. It is a currency. It flows. And when we get it and we put it back into the universe and put it back into use,
Yeah.
we're doing good, amazing things with it. So we should be shifting that paradigm
Yeah.
of what it means to be wealthy so that we can go after it. We can own our worth. We can charge what we should be charging for the transformation that we're creating, not just the hours that we're working, and really be able to literally change the world with our money. Yeah.
I agree. And I think even in with the spiritual and healer side of things, and I would put myself in that category in the past. I money wasn't my motivator. I was all
Yeah.
about service. Every business I've owned somehow always had to do with relationships, always had to do with service. And after my near death experience, when you get a calling from above of what you need to do, it was like now my motivation's to be a check writer because I've been in the ditches.
Yes.
I've seen that stuff. I've
Mhm.
lived those bad situations. And now it's like, how do I fix those? Well, I go and make as much money as I can serving people and being able later to do all the philanthropy work with the money that I build that wealth with. So
Yes.
it's just such a different shift in the mind. And it's okay to be a healer and actually make money. I have a
Yeah.
great friend actually that has for over 20 years now had her own healing modality and she certifies people and it's been great for her and she was super smart about it because she's very not only spiritual but religious. And so then you add that combo in there which also blocks a lot of people with money. And I love that about her that she's been able to really financially be stable and do a lot of good because she just had that in her. And so
Yeah.
many people don't. It's almost like it's a mind shift, and some will get out of it and some never will. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's shift a little bit into talking about retreat venues. All right. When we're
Mhm.
talking about building wealth or building money, I know a lot of retreat leaders that really want to make this their thing. That their goal is to own their own venue where they can host their own retreats and bring other people in that can host their
Yeah.
retreats on their property. Um, so how can we not just make that a passion project, but really a true wealth building asset? What suggestions do you have?
I think that is, I tell any business owner, let alone a retreat leader, own your space. If you can own a piece of property, that is an asset. Like you said, if you can have ownership of an asset that appreciates, and then, like you said, if you can let other retreat leaders come in and use that space for their retreats, then you're building a cash flow
Yes.
opportunity from that asset. So you're making money two ways. So that is just the key wealth builder right there, is
Yeah.
appreciation and cash flow. That is what you want your money to be doing. And so if you can own the space instead of leasing the space, and then use that space to lease to other people, you become the controller
Yeah.
of, that cash flow. Instead of spending it, you're making it.
Right.
And yeah, it costs money to do that, but I'm a creative financing strategist. I can,
Right.
yeah, and real estate investor, I can help you do that. So that's the thing. I think people are afraid. They think I'm not qualified to do that, or, that's just not my sandbox to play in. I don't need to do that.
Yep.
Why not?
I
Why
agree.
not?
Yeah. It's just about dreaming bigger and figuring everything's figure outable. We can figure a way, and where there's a
Yeah.
will, there's a way. And if you don't have the means to do that, find someone who does and partner with someone. There's just so many different avenues. Like you said, you're a strategist. You can help them figure it out. So
Yeah. And
if it's something on your bucket list,
I
definitely.
talk to investors all the time, and I will tell you, as a real estate investor, and, I invest in everything, but
Yeah.
they are saying, like, retreat spaces are the hottest real estate investment right now.
I agree.
So if these people who are investors, I'll be honest, they don't want anything to do with it. They want you to do it. So
Yeah.
if they want to give you money to go create this thing, then let's do it, right?
So I'm going to put a plug in for Retreat R&R. By the way, we do broker buying and selling of luxury retreat properties. So if that's something you're looking for, we connect people to do that. We find properties out there, and I don't know anybody that does that, that will actually specialize just in retreat properties. And that's why our podcast is called All Things Retreat, and that's why we're called Retreat R&R. That's what we help people do. So yeah, my information's all over, all over. You can find, so get a hold of me if you actually are thinking about owning one. And then about financing one, there's Amanda for you. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
We'll tag team.
there you go.
What's the difference between owning a retreat center and renting one from a business perspective? We've touched a little bit on that, but let's go a little deeper.
Yeah. I mean, rent is an expense. You're not recuperating that.
No.
It's just it's, I'll compare it to life insurance. A term life policy is just money that you're flushing down the toilet. Yes, you're making money on the event itself, but what if
Yeah.
that wasn't an expense for you and you flipped the script and you were able to charge that,
Yes.
not just once, but multiple times over? So it's just, the average millionaire, you and I've discussed this. I say it all the time. The average millionaire has 7 streams of income.
Right.
You're not going to have 7 jobs. Nobody
No.
can
I hope
sustainably do
not.
that well. I hope
Yeah.
not. But you are going to have assets that create the cash flow and appreciation. And
Right.
this, if you are running retreats and you have that business and that is successful, and then you had a place that also generated income from other retreats, that is an additional stream of income from you that you would otherwise be paying for. So it's just a way to eliminate an expense and create more income for yourself.
Yeah. had a friend years ago before I got into this space at all. They had some fractional real estate and owned a property with, I don't know, 4 to 6 other families
Mhm.
in Mexico. And I remember her not liking it because it forced them to always have, 6 weeks a year or whatever they had. That's where they went on vacation. And that's great in the beginning, but she wanted to explore. She's a traveler, and it was like, then get smart about putting people in there, Airbnb it. And of course, if you have fractional ownership, you've got to make sure everybody agrees on that, because that means not just the owners are staying there, it's just maybe random people. So, I mean, there's just so many ways that have been creative ways to finance things. And I know
Yes.
here where I live, they'll have big old huge like mansion homes that have 28 people that it'll sleep for a retreat in one house, and that's what they do, they Airbnb it, but maybe it has 6 owners, and so they can take that option if they want to come stay there as a family, or it just gets rented out during that time frame they have. And I have other friends that do houseboats that way. So
Mhm.
there's so many creative ways that are just getting more and more that way. And anyway, those were just a couple examples I was thinking of when we were talking about that.
Yeah, and I know somebody who they purposely go find old defunct wineries or campgrounds so they don't have to recreate the wheel,
Yeah,
and they buy those and turn them into retreat spaces. I mean,
absolutely.
you just find your niche, you find the creative way that you want to do it. I mean, that's land that's already cultivated, that's land that's already built
Yeah,
essentially for what you want to do. There's a
yeah,
million ways I could sit and talk about
yeah,
all these different ways that you could pull this stuff together. And you're
yeah,
right about the fractional piece. I mean, you've created this community of retreat leaders. Think about how many properties could be bought within just this community and
right.
sharing that equity and that income. I mean, you've created it right here for people to come together
Yeah.
and start that process. So
I
that's
mean, what if
amazing.
what if you had a property, for instance, that you had the acreage, everything was there. You had them built out. Maybe they had the little cabins on it, or little tiny homes
Mhm.
on them. So everybody had their own little piece of place where they got, and then a gathering center. I mean, what if 52 people own that property and for a week? So
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you're going to shut down for some maintenance things, but I'm just saying 52 people own it, and you own a certain week every year that you could have a week long retreat. I don't know. I just think of how things like that are just possible now. And there's companies that manage all that for you. It's not a lot of work. It's an investment, obviously, but
Mhm.
then you own it.
Yeah.
Then you own it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Um, what or why is ownership such a powerful piece of empowerment, especially for women entrepreneurs?
I'm glad you. I was about to say something about ownership, and then you asked the question, so that's great.
There you go.
That's the key. Is ownership. That is how people build wealth. Is ownership of
Yes.
assets, especially women. If we have ownership of something, whether it is a piece of real estate, our intellectual property, these are things that we own that people can't. Essentially take away from us, but that is how wealth is created. And as women, I mean, let's just say it, until 1974 in the United States, a woman couldn't get a checking account or a credit card without a man's permission.
Right.
So this systemic patriarchal stuff is inside of us as women that, we have to step back from this type of ownership, from back from this type of investing. And that is why I am out running my mouth everywhere, that is
Yeah.
not the case, that
Yeah.
we as women should be investing in these things. We should be investing in ownership of assets. That is the
Yeah.
key to generational wealth. That is how the rich are getting richer.
Yep.
If you want to grow your visibility, your income, your impact, your purpose, your passion, it is through ownership of assets.
Yes. I mean, I've been a real estate broker for 20 years, just about. So you're speaking to the choir here.
Yep. Yep.
Sing it, girl. I love it. Yeah, totally, totally agree with that. I mean, and then above and beyond that, if you can be the bank, even better.
Yes. We could do a whole other podcast on that.
Right. I mean, yeah, in a perfect world, but we're starting small here. We're just working these baby steps up. So, first of all, you got to have your first retreat if you're brand new.
There you
So
go.
you got to get that on the calendar first of all. See if it's even in your wheelhouse and you love doing them, because there are people that do not love doing them. But remember, that's why Retreat R&R has a concierge service, so that we can come in, do all the logistics for you, and you come in and just teach your zone of genius. You don't have to worry about all
Oh,
the
that
little
sounds
details.
nice.
There's a way for everything, and there's a path for every way you want to go.
Beautiful.
Okay, so what's one piece of advice you'd give someone ready to invest in their first retreat property?
Find someone who's done it before, or at least has the experience to help you with the acquisition of the property. Do
Yeah,
you know what you're looking for? Do you know how to make the right offer?
yeah,
These are things you just don't go into on Zillow. Like, this
right,
isn't just a for sale by owner situation. This requires some good negotiation.
absolutely.
And as far as the creative financing, there's a dozen different ways you can buy this type of stuff with no money out of your pocket if you know how to do it, to structure the deal and make the offer the
Yeah,
right way. So getting with someone who can help you structure that offer
mhm,
and do the due diligence on the property itself or properties so you can make the right decision for you,
right.
that's key. Just finding someone who can do that
Yeah,
process with you to make sure that all the due diligence is done and you're getting the best offer and not getting taken advantage of. Yeah.
100%. Okay, just odd question. I offer consulting for things like that. Do you ever, or have you thought
Oh
about it?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've
right.
got, programs, coaching, courses. I've
Yeah,
got everything inside of my Expand Your Empire platform and community for women. Some of it real estate, some of it other investments, just depending on what it is. And, not only do we do the creative financing, we have different loan programs, equity,
right.
debt service. Like, we do just about everything because we've done it ourselves.
Yeah.
And that was why I started this whole thing. Is like, I had to go learn all this myself. And I'm like, nobody's teaching us this stuff. Why? So, I did it. Now I'm doing it for other people. And I love doing it. It's what gets my creative juices flowing. Like, how can we do this? It's really fun.
I love it. Okay, so as we're wrapping up, I have one final question. If you could answer it, maybe one or two sentences. If you could leave the listeners with one truth about money and self worth, what would it be?
Money is a mirror.
Ah,
If
it's
you,
one of my chapters in my book. That's so funny.
that
You read my
we
mind.
did not plan that.
No, we did not.
Um, Yeah, money is a mirror. And I think when you
Yeah.
really start to evaluate your views on money, your money story, if you
Mhm.
look at how you're spending it and receiving it and what's happening and the action piece of it, then you're really going to get dig deeper on it. Yeah.
So funny. My editor just wrote me back something last night, and I can't remember what it was. It was something about that though, about the money, and something about, oh, what did she say? I went, oh, I'm not even going to remember now. Anyway, it was interesting because her money story I could see coming out through that. And what I was saying and what she was trying to edit were not in sync. And it was like, is it really? She's asking me, and I don't remember what the word was I had in there. And then it stumped me, and I'm on Chat GPT, at 11 o'clock last night going, okay, how do we, fix this so it's positive? Because I wanted the word in there. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, God helped me write this book. Every time we come back with edits, I'm like, I don't even remember writing that.
Did I write this?
It's been a journey. I'm telling you. Launches in a week, 11/11, everyone. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it's been wild, but um, thank you so much for bringing this information, and definitely maybe we'll have you on at another time too. We'll dig a little deeper in this. So if you're liking this show, everybody listening, especially on YouTube where it's easy to make comments, or Apple, go and make some comments on it and give us some feedback. We'll put all of Amanda's information in the show notes so that you can contact her, get a hold of her. Mine are always on there as well. And we'd love to dig a little deeper with you. If we've sparked some interest in some things like
Yeah,
this, let's talk, because it's kind of, oh, I get so excited about stuff
I
like
know.
this. And I love seeing people succeed and create wealth for themselves and just take a leap. It's like, that's the first thing. Just get some things
Yes.
on the calendar for 2026 so you can start planning and making all the retreat forward things happen.
Yeah. Say yes, then figure it out.
Absolutely. I agree. It's my motto. All right. Thanks again, Amanda, for being with us.
Thank you. This was
See
fun.
everybody next time. Bye for now. Thanks for joining us on this episode of All Things Retreat. We hope you're leaving with new ideas, fresh inspiration, and the motivation to take your retreats to the next level. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us grow and reach more retreat leaders like you. And if you have any questions, topics you'd like us to cover, or just want to say hello, send us an email at info@weretreatrnr.com. Follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all the latest updates. Until next time, remember, great retreats start with great intentions. Let's make them extraordinary, one step at a time. Thinking about hosting a retreat? Before you dive in, let's make sure you're really ready. Grab your free Are You Retreat Ready checklist and find out if you've got everything in place from your purpose and pricing to your audience and agenda. Don't guess. Get clear. This quick checklist will show you exactly where you stand and what you need to make your retreat a success. Click the link below in the show notes to grab your gift and take the first step toward hosting with confidence.